Disang.
Morning, Chair.
Good morning, Chair.
Yeah,
Okay.
audible.
Morning, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just do a formal greeting. Let me just greet everyone on the platform. A warm welcome this morning to Minister Dalil, our Deputy Minister Sochu, DG Vele, and the team from the department, Acting CEO of SAT and her team, and all honorable members. I would also like to take the opportunity to wish our Honorable Minister Dalil a happy birthday.
Thank you.
You see, Minister, we are not birthdays here. We want to wish you well and
Thank you. Thank you.
God's blessings on your birthday today.
Thank you.
I would just like to make some opening remarks for our meeting today, which will then be followed by the apologies and the delegations that Disang will follow through with. The committee meeting today is to consider the second and the third quarter performance reports for the Department of Tourism and South African Tourism amidst a number of disturbing circumstances in the sector. The department and SA Tourism are reporting good performance against the set targets for the period under review, although underspending remains a concern across all 4 programs of the department. The developments at SA Tourism are a cause for serious concern for the committee. SA Tourism is like a plane on autopilot, where the acting CEO officer has resigned and leaves the position of the CEO and Chief Operations Officer vacant. The Chief Marketing Officer, who was on suspension under circumstances, has also resigned, leaving the position of the core function of the entity vacant. We just need to agree as this Tourism Portfolio Committee that there is a crisis, and we would like Minister to oversee this crisis. The continuous challenges at SAT render all our good work done by the department, it renders it meaningless. So all the tourism development work done by the department should culminate in tangible indicators such as increased arrivals, job creation, and increased contribution to the GDP of the country. SA Tourism is the engine that must convert all the good tourism development work into these economic indicators. However, governance issues at the entity is counterproductive. The board of SAT is not at this meeting to account, and the letter of apology from the board chairperson cites prior commitments. The apology, however, is unacceptable as the term program of the committee shared with the Department of SAT, once developed by the committee to assist both organizations with advanced planning. The invitation letters from my office are formalities requesting appearance before the committee on dates already known to the department and the board. The delegation list sent to the committee indicates that Dr. Shamila Chetia, who is the DDG for the program, 3 in the department, is there now leading SA Tourism delegation as the acting CEO. But we also need to take into account that in the department, there was a failure in targeted job opportunities, where 11 jobs created against 500 for Q3, and many other targets that are not achieved, such as 0 maintenance projects handed back to owning entities against a target of 14 projects. So we would like to see an improvement in where job creation is concerned. On the other hand, the private sector has withheld TOMSA levy funds and is initiating a parallel international marketing activity. These cases will duplicate and confusion will be created in the international markets. There's just chaos and crisis within the tourism sector. Please, Minister, we need to accept this inconvenient truth and start putting measures in place to bring the sector on track. Also, Minister, we need to re-establish the trust and cordial working relationship with the private sector. It is now widely accepted as an international standard that tourism is government-led, public sector-driven, and community-based. So on this nexus, it's continually being broken without government not providing appropriate leadership as it should. That is why the private sector is taking matters into their own hands. So as the committee, in the absence of the board, we need the minister to just give us some clarities here and there. When will the strategic position of the CEO and the COO and the chief marketing officer be filled, please? With a current board that always avoid accounting to the committee, we also need Minister to just indicate to us as the committee, when will the permanent board be appointed, as the call for nominations close on the 5th of December, 2025, and we need a board we can hold accountable. We need a board that understands and then respects Parliament. The committee will then take all the presentations and engage with the issues after both the department and SA Tourism has finished presenting to us today. So without further ado, Disang will continue with the apologies and who is present in our meeting, the delegations. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Chair, good Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, and the Honorable Members, colleagues. The apologies I've received, Chair, it's from Honorable Mutli and Honorable Buthelezi, who are having party political commitments for today. And then from the department, Chair, the delegation stands as thus. The delegation is led by the Minister, Honorable Dilili, Deputy Minister Honorable Sochu, and then the department is from the administration is led by Mr. Victor Vele, the DG, Dr. Sipho Ngomani, who is a DDG for Corporate Management, Ms. Anim Malan, who is a DDG for Tourism Research Policy, International Relations, and Destination Development, Ms. Maritonki Sitwaba is the DDG for Tourism Sector Support Services. There's an apology from the CFO, who is Ms. Maponya, and the acting CEO is present, is Monith Maharaj. And then there is also apology from SA Tourism. There's no board member present. There's an apology from the chairperson, Dr. Masito. And then the delegation from SA Tourism, EXCO, is led by the acting CEO, Dr. Shamila Chetia. Ms. Lorato Sitole is the CFO. Mr. Tandiwe Matibela is the acting chief marketing officer. Ms. Con Koch is the chief CBO. And then Ms. Siabonga Mtetwa is the chief strategy officer. Then we also have the parliamentary support staff present, not the ministry and the department. Mr. Kobus Kutsia is the PLO for the minister. Ms. Jody N. Nick van Niekerk is the parliamentary and cabinet support for the minister's office, and Ms. Diane Charles is the chief of staff for the CEO of SA Tourism. Ms. Yolande Kona is the strategy planning, evaluation, and program management for SA Tourism. Mr. Ntlantla Tlaba is the PLO for the DM, Deputy Minister. Mr. Thabo Makhubedu is the director for the Office of the Director General, and Ms. Roshokejwe Moloto is the PLO for the DG. That's the delegation from the department and SA Tourism Chairperson.
Thank you, Disang. Our next item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. May I have a mover for the adoption of the agenda?
Thank you very much, Chair. It's Member Hlongo. I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Honorable Hlongo. Is there a seconder?
Chair, my hand is up. I second the adoption of the agenda.
Thank you, Honorable Ikharaba. With that, the agenda is adopted for today. Our next item on the agenda is we will be receiving a briefing by the Department of Tourism on the second and third term performance reports. But before we give an opportunity to the department to do the presentations, I would like to give an opportunity to Minister Delil to do some brief remarks before the department presents. Minister Delil, over to you.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, and good morning to yourself and all the honourable members. And thank you for the opportunity to present the performance of the department and SAT on their second and third quarter performance for the financial year 25-26. Honourable Chair and members, I'm pleased to report that both entities have maintained strong performance levels, with the department achieving 89% in quarter 2 and 94% in quarter 3. South African tourism achieving 96% and 95% respectively. Now, these results reflect a system that is stabilizing, strengthening governance, and improving delivery. The sector itself, the tourism sector, continues to grow. International arrivals reached 10.5 million in 2025, a 17.7%.
Disang, is it possible to mute yourself? And everyone on the platform, please mute yourself whilst the Minister is on the platform.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Like I've said, the sector continues to grow. International arrivals reached 10.5 million in 2025, showing a 17.7% increase compared to 2024. Our domestic sector also remains resilient, with 38.9 million overnight trips recorded up to November 2025. And this confirms, Honourable Chair and members, that South Africa's moved from recovery into a period of sustained growth. Across both entities, we have seen strong delivery areas such as global marketing, investment facilitation, community-based tourism development, digital system enhancements, and business event support. However, Honourable Chair, we acknowledge the areas that is requiring focused attention. And these include delays in maintenance projects handover within the Department of Tourism, and some underspending with procurement challenges affecting certain marketing campaigns in SAT. And we need to accelerate capacity alignment in SAT and organizational redesign processes. I want to assure the committee members that corrective measures are already in place, and we are monitoring the implementation closely. Honourable members, we remain committed to ensuring that tourism continues to drive inclusive growth, job creation, and opportunities for communities across our country. We welcome the oversight and guidance by the Portfolio Committee as we move into the final quarter of this financial year. I will just briefly respond to some of the things raised by the Honourable Chairperson in her opening remarks. I want to advise the committee that the advertisements to fill the post of COO, the Chief Operations Officer, the Chief Marketing Officer, the advertisement closed this week. And by the end of February, first week in March, we will have some permanent appointments. The board has already appointed a permanent Chief Financial Officer and also a head of audit services. Some of the issues that were raised by the Auditor General, those positions have now been filled. Just, Honourable Chair, on the issue of the marketing, destination marketing, there is a joint marketing strategy consisting of South African Tourism and the Tourism Business Council. And this has been existing for the past year and a half. And they have jointly designed a campaign, to use the TOMSA levy money that was allocated to SAT. Just on the permanent board, you are right, Chairperson, the advertisement closed on the 5th of December. We had the holidays in between. We are now starting the process towards the end of this month. And the process will include doing the shortlisting, doing interviews. I've also enlisted the services of the Institute of Directors to help us to further do some screening on the candidates. And then thereafter, I will be taking recommendations to Cabinet for consideration. So that process has started and it is ongoing. In terms of the acting position of Dr. Shamila Chetia as the acting CEO of SAT, it's been agreed between the DG and myself that is the best way to second somebody from the department to hold the fort there until the disciplinary processes of the CEO will be completed early in March. So we are monitoring the situation very closely. Dr. Chetia has resigned as a member of the board, and between the Director General and myself, we will be appointing another representative from the department to serve on the SAT board. So many of the things that you've raised, Honourable Chair and members, are being attended to. And as you will see in our presentation now, we will be able to discuss in detail with the committee members what we have put in place, the remedial action, and the monitoring and evaluation by the Deputy Minister and myself on the performance of both the entity and the department. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you, Ba. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, also for taking the committee into confidence. And I think, as you've stated, many of the matters raised in my opening remarks, you have answered them. And I hope honourable members have heard all the answers, because we had some concerns and you have now, can I say, alleviated many of the concerns. Let me just now give an opportunity to DG Vele and the team from the department side to do the presentation on the second and third term performance reports. DG Vele, over to you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Greetings to yourself, to the honourable members, to the Minister, to the DM, as well as all the colleagues, be it from the department, from SAT, or from the side of Parliament. Honourable Chairperson, we are mindful of the fact that we are doing 2 quarters per entity, the department as well as as well as South African tourism. So what we would do, I will not waste any time. The Minister has already given the overview of the performance for the first quarter, for the second quarter, as well as the third quarter. I'm going to ask the DDGs to briefly go through the program performance, and the acting CFO of the department to also go through the finances. The other aspect that I would like to just highlight is that we are in the first year, Honourable Chairperson, first year of implementation of the MTDP. And there's quite a lot of lessons that we are actually picking up, which will enhance the manner of implementation, resolve, and speed. But also, there are a lot of systems and processes that we've had to adapt and change so that they are in line with the manner of implementation that we have adopted for this particular 5-year term, and that in one way or another has had some lessons that we have actually picked up from there, which we will be able to take forward as we do refine the ways that we are actually using. But we are seeing a lot of value in the manner in which we're doing things. But the most important thing is once we know precisely this is how we will do it, then we should be able to move from there. We can go to slide 7, which is program administration. And I will hand over to Dr. Ngomane to start from there on program information in the details and so on. Dr. Ngomane, over to you.
Thank you so much, DG. Greetings to Honorable Chairperson, Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Minister, and Honorable Deputy Minister, DG Vele, Acting CEO, Dr. Chetia, and colleagues. Chairperson, I'm going to do the program performance for Program 1, Administration. Let me actually summarize that Program 1 during the Q2 and Q3 period had 19 targets. During Q2, the program was able to achieve 100% of the performance in terms of the 19 targets. We had some dip during Q3 in terms of the target. 3 of the targets out of the 19 were not fully met, but substantial work has actually been done into those 3 targets that were not met. I would like to share with you, Chairperson and honorable members, those 3 targets that were not able to meet them fully. If you can go to the next slide. Slide 10. The next slide, please. Slide 10. That is actually target number 7. It's on slide number 10. Slide number 7. My apologies. Can we please project a Q3 report? Because I've already given the summary that we have achieved 100% of all the targets for Q2. I would like to reflect on Q3. That is where we could not actually meet 3 of those targets, but they are actually continuing targets. Can go to slide number 10. Thank you so much. We can go back, yes. Chairperson and honorable members, the first target that I would like to report on, it has to do with the capacity alignment exercise that the department is currently busy with to ensure that we've got a proper alignment in terms of the resources to deliver on the mandate of the department. were required in terms of Q3 target to finalize the implementation plan for addressing gaps. Unfortunately, we could not finalize the plan. However, significant work has actually been done. We were able to conduct the assessment to measure the functional alignment with the National Development Plan, the National Tourism Sector Strategy, the Tourism Growth Partnership Plan, the Strategic Plan, also the Annual Performance Plan priorities. And we're also able to assess the SE's service delivery model and how it aligns with the 2B service delivery model, considering that we've got a recently approved Tourism Growth Partnership Plan. And then also we were able to design the data assessment tool that sought to identify the existing skill sets of the employees, the capacity, and the workload insight across all teams and functions to determine the area of growth and development. One of the reasons, honorable members, that led us not to fully achieve this target was because of the festive holidays, and we set ourselves as a department a target of 85% in terms of the response rate for the department, that all employees should actually participate. At least if we get 85%, then we will be fully comfortable that the percentage will give us the results and the picture of what we need for the department. As at the end of December, the department was able to receive a response rate of 61%, which was a bit of a shortfall in terms of our target. When we actually came back in January, we were able to reopen the survey, and we managed to. So that is basically what happened in this regard. And we are now busy finalizing all the plans in line with all the reports and the results that they've received. The second target that to do, can go to the next slide. The current skills profile for employees conducted. During the Q3 period, we had to collect the data and analyze the current skills profiles and make sure that all that is actually in place. But because we could not actually finalize the survey, we received a response rate of 62.61%, less than the target of 85%. We could not finalize this area, but now in Q4, we are actually addressing the gap to ensure that all the reports are actually in place and the plan are actually in place as well to outline the current skills levels of the department, and also the competence gaps in terms of the assessment that was done using the data assessment tool. And you can go to the next slide. This is the third target that we're not able to achieve. What we're trying to do here is to implement an academic excellence recognition program for our tourism graduate students that are currently enrolled in various institutions. In this current year, we wanted to conduct a pilot with one of the academic institutions. Identified the University of Johannesburg as one of the schools that actually offers tourism and hospitality in the country, to be able to test this program of academic excellency. During Q3, our target was to finalize partnership contract with the academic institution for this particular program. We were able to get the partnership finalized because of the school holidays. But as we speak right now, we have received confirmation from the University of Johannesburg with the letter confirming the partnership with them to be able to roll out this academic excellence recognition program. These are the three programs targets, Honorable Chairperson and members, that program one was not able to receive the full 100% in terms of the performance. I thank you so much, Chairperson. DG, we can go to the next branch. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. Good morning, honorable chair, honorable members, Minister, DM, colleagues. I will take, I don't know why, but I have a echo, but I will continue. I will take the honorable members through program 2, quarter 2 and 3 performance, and then I will continue with program 3. For quarter 2, program 2 received a 92 performance, with one target not fully being met. And I will zoom into that target. I'm not sure. I think we have quarter 3 presentation now on the screen. Should we go to quarter 2 before we go to quarter 3? Sorry, colleagues. Thank you. Thank you very much. So for quarter 2, there was one target, as I indicated, that program 2 did not fully achieve. And I will, I think, in the interest of time, take the meeting to that specific output indicator. Let's go to the next page. Next one, please. The next one, please. That one. Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. For quarter 2, we had a target of the draft STR framework submitted for consultation with stakeholders. We did compile and we did finalize the work for the STR, and we submitted it to Minister for her guidance on how to proceed on the short-term rental framework. Minister wanted us to do a consultation with short-term rental industry players, and that she therefore led the consultation process. But I can indicate, honorable members, that we are now ready for publication of the framework, gazetting the framework for public comments. So we have caught up, and we will be able to deliver on this task by the end of the financial year. Next slide, please. I don't know. Perhaps I must go to quarter 3 now. Sorry, Kobus, I don't know showing the slides. Before I go to program 3. So in quarter 3, the program also managed to achieve 11 out of 12 targets. So also a 92% performance. I can confirm that in Q3, we have picked up or we have catch up on the STR framework. And we are, as I said in my earlier presentation, we are on track to publish to gazette for public comment in this current financial year. The one target that we didn't achieve is on the next slide. It's around DDM implementation. Thank you very much, Kobus. We targeted for the annual target 9 tourism district model supporting outreaches to be conducted. We managed to achieve 6 in the first 2 quarters, and we targeted 3 for Q3. Unfortunately, we were only able to achieve 2 of those because of unavailability of districts. We couldn't achieve all the outreaches as planned. What we are doing currently in Q4 is catching up on those, and we will fully achieve our annual target. So I think in summary, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, for Programme 2, we are confident that we will, by the end of the financial year, be able to achieve all our planned targets. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. I think I can then move to destination development in Q2. Let me also indicate that for Q2, destination development managed to achieve 11 out of the 12 targets. So 92% performance achievement. And the one target that they couldn't achieve, let's just move to that slide, was around EPWP. Next slide, please, Clovis. That is the, I think the previous one. 500 work opportunities is created. The target, the achievement was far less than what was planned. And the reason for the variance is that the skills project started, the start date was delayed, extremely delayed. And therefore, the work opportunities couldn't be achieved. So that is the one target for Q2 that Programme 3 couldn't achieve. In terms of the corrective measures, just to say that there was approval subsequently to fund projects that solely create job opportunities to ensure that these opportunities are indeed created. Let's move to Q3. In Q3, Honourable Members, there were 3 targets that the programme wasn't able to fully achieve. 2 of them was very significant work has been done, but let me speak to those. 3 out of the 13 that couldn't be achieved. The first target speaks to, next slide please, the community-based tourism projects completed. For Q3, the programme targeted 13 community-based tourism projects to be completed. Unfortunately, only 12 community-based projects were completed. It was at 95% completion. And at the time, the expectation was that it will be completed by 10 January. but I can indicate due to further delays, which I can elaborate on later, the time frame has been extended to the end of the financial year for completion. But it was only the one community-based tourism project that wasn't completed as planned. Let's move to the next slide, please. Next one, please. Here we talk about 14 completed maintenance project sites handed back to owning entities. And we are saying that to date, 13 of the 33 completed maintenance projects have been handed over. And the reasons for the variance is that a due diligence is being completed on final projects documents. So the team really want to make sure that everything is in order before it is handed back. But we can give assurance to the committee that the remaining 20 completed maintenance project sites will be handed back to owning entities in Q4. And then the last target that wasn't fully achieved was again on work opportunities created, and that not all the targeted work opportunities could be created as planned. However, at the end of Q3, we did manage to create 759, but there's still the shortfall of 641. The main reason for this is that by the end of the third quarter, we had not yet captured and accounted for some of the jobs that were created on the EPWP systems. There are some work from opportunities that's created through sandparks, the Youth Employment Service Initiatives, and the BMA, for which we received documentation, and capturing of those jobs are currently happening as we speak. We do anticipate, honourable members, that we will manage to achieve the target and most likely exceed the target by the end of the financial year. Those are the three targets, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, that Programme 3 did not fully achieve in Q3. Thank you very much. That concludes Programme 2 and Programme 3.
And thank you very much, DDG. Good morning, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. Morning, Minister and Deputy Minister, DG, Acting CEO of South African Tourism, and all colleagues on the call. I'm presenting a performance report for Programme 4, Tourism Sector Support Services. In Q2, we managed 21 targets. Only one target was not achieved, 20 were achieved. The one that was not achieved is the Integrated Service Excellence. If you can go to the next slide for Programme 4. Next slide. Next slide. The next one, I'm speaking to the one that we have not achieved for Q2. This is the slide that I'm referring to. The one of the demand-led skills, which is Integrated Service Excellence, where we are focusing on townships, villages, and small towns. We had initially designed a concept for implementation, but we couldn't get approval because the concept did not demonstrate fully that the integrated service excellence will meet the criteria that we are setting in terms of demand-led skills, meaning the youth that we are putting into our training programs will be able to secure employment in the sense that we will be training them with skills that are needed in the sector. We went back, we reconceptualized, and we obtained approval, but it was a bit late outside Q2 by the time we obtained approval. We were able to catch up in that in Q3. We proceeded with the recruitment and selection and signing of the necessary document for SANParks to implement the program with us. I must say this is a pilot a program. We have 100 learners on board. We have been able to catch up. And as I said, honorable members, all of our targets except this one for Q2 were achieved. In Q3, we managed 21 targets as well. All of our targets we have been able to achieve, even the one that was lagging behind, we were able to catch up. Thank you. That will be all, focusing on only those aspects where we have not been able to achieve. We are not reporting any underperformance in Q3. We achieved all of our targets. Thank you. Thank you, Tiji.
Thank you, DDG Strava. DDG Ngomane and Mohith on the last part of the presentation, HR information, as well as the financials, slide 39 and slide 40.
Thank you so much, TG. Honorable and honorable members, I would like now to present the HR information. I'll actually use the Q3 report to give an overview that there's actually some progress with regards to the filling of vacancies in the department. During Q2 period, let me indicate that at the beginning of the financial year, we were at 13.7 in terms of the percentage of the vacancy rate in the department. During Q3, we were able to reduce. We were sitting at 437 field position versus the approved 506. In Q3, we are actually sitting at 450 field position, which translates to 11%. And our projection shows that with all the recruitment drive process that we are currently busy with, we are likely to be around 10% or just slightly below 10% by the end of the final year. One of the reasons that contributes to this movement is that we are actually getting internal promotions, which does not necessarily make much more movement because you are moving officials from one position to another positions where it opens a gap, another positions. But with all the processes that we are currently busy with, there is actually some progress with regards to the filling of the positions and the representation of SMS, especially women leadership, is at 50.8%, which is slightly above the 50% that is required. And then also we've got a good representations in terms of the persons with disability, which is sitting at 4.9% of the total establishment of the department. Thank you so much, Chairperson. I'll now hand over to my colleague, Mr. Maharaj, to do the financial report.
Thank you. Good morning, honorable members, honorable chairperson, minister, and colleagues. We'll go through the Q3 expenditure report. That is the most recent report. Starting with program one, you'll find that the total budget is 364 million, and at the end of December 2025, we've spent 239.8 million. So that gives us 66% spending. We projected to be at around 272.4 million for program one. That is 75% of the budget spent. So there's a variance of 32.6 million, which is a 9% difference between the actual and the cumulative projected. And the main reasons for that underspending is due to the underspending in the GITM, which is your IT domain, primarily arising from delays in your CETA facilitated procurement processes that have impacted project implementation in the space. There were also variances in terms of that were affected by consumption-based costs, which fluctuate in line with operational demand, such as your TNS and your purchase of stationery, etc. There was also savings within the financial management domain in terms of largely attributable to lower than anticipated payments for the audit fees and then cell phone expenditure. And then lastly, we have variance under COE, which is due to unfilled posts as at the end of quarter 3. And then moving on to program 2, which is the expenditure for program 2 without your SAT budget and spending. The budget is 107.8 million and actual spending is 71.9 million, which is a 67% spending. We projected to be at 80.6 million at around 75%. So the variance is 8.6 million, which is roughly 8% difference between actual and cumulative projected. So the underspending in this program is mainly due to suspension of travel and external stakeholder engagements following advice to halt the consultations on the frameworks informing the review of the Tourism Act, as well as the draft short-term rentals framework, due to a decision to actually adopt an alternative consultation approach. So there was a limited traveling compared to what was planned. And then there's monitoring of MOUs in the tourism white paper is currently undertaken through desktop reviews of progress reports and integrated development plans, with provincial consultations and associated travel expected to commence in quarter 4, at which point expenditure is anticipated to increase in that space. In addition, we have again underspending in COE due to unfilled positions in the program. And then we go to the next slide, 40. Yeah, so we find that SA Tourism, they have a total E&E budget of 1.3 billion. They've spent 1.196 billion as at the end of the quarter, which is 92% of the total budget. They projected to be spending 1.196 billion, so there's no variance in terms of spending up to the end of quarter 3. And then moving on to program 3, destination development, the budget is 331 million. They spent 112.3 million, which is roughly 34% of the budget spent. Projected to be at around 158.3 million, at around 48%. So you'll find that there's a variance of 46 million between projected and actual spending, which is roughly 14% in terms of the difference. The underspending is mainly attributable to the slow commencement of skills development projects under the EPWP program, with catch-up plans in place to align expenditure with projections. And again, we have underspending in the COE space, that is compensation of employees due to vacant posts. And then program 4, the total budget is 331.6 million. 118.2 million has been spent, which equates to 36% of the budget spent up to the end of the quarter. In terms of projections, we were projected to be at 232.7 million at around 70%. So you see there's a variance of 114.4 million, which is roughly a 35% difference between projected and actual. And the underspending here is mainly due to delays in finalization of plans and the necessary approvals linked to the tourism incentive programs. But I can say that there's commitments in place, and spending is expected to pick up on the TIP program. And then in terms of the other area of underspending, it's again with COE in terms of the vacant posts that we have within the program. So in total, we have a budget of 2.4 billion. We've spent 1.7 billion. That is 71% of our budget as at the end of quarter 3. We projected to be at 1.9 billion. So we're about 201 million in terms of the variance, which equates to an 8% variance between projected and actual spending for the as at the end of quarter. I think this economic classification breakdown just gives us a breakdown in terms of the current payments. So COE, we have a 432 million rand budget. We spent 293 million. So we've spent 68% of our compensation of employees budget. We ought to be at 324.6 million. So there's a variance of 31 million, which is a 7% difference. On goods and services, we have a budget of 402 million. We've spent 160.6 million of that, which is about 40% of the budget spent. We projected to be at 279.7 million, at around 70%. There's 119 million variance in our COEs, in our goods and services spending. In terms of transfers, department agencies and accounts, we've spent 1.2 billion of the 1.3 billion budget. That is 93% spent. We're projected to be at 1.196 billion, 92%. So we've slightly overspent on that category. It's a 2% overspending. In terms of foreign governments and international organizations, we have a budget of 2.8 million. We spent 2.6. That is 91% spent. We projected to be at 2.8. That is fully spent, but there's a 253,000 variance. I would say that variance is primarily due to exchange rate fluctuations. So we're actually not going to be spending that money. It's actually a savings due to the exchange rate being in our favor when we made that payment. For public corporations and private enterprises, we have a budget of 176.5 million. We've actually spent 10 million, which is 6% of that amount. We projected to be at 120 million. So we have cumulative projected expenditure of 68%. The variance is 110 million, which is 62%. In terms of non-profit institutions, we have 480,000 rand budget, which we have spent. We plan to have spent this earlier, but no, sorry, we have planned to spend this later. So we actually find that we have overspent in our projections. In terms of households, we had a budget of 4.1. We spent 8 million. We projected to be at 2.046. So we overspent on that budget. I hasten to add here that in terms of households, it includes your social benefits that are paid on with the exit of personnel. And we actually don't plan for that to a large extent. So you find that in this period, the amount spent on social benefits in terms of exit benefits was high, and therefore we have an overspending. That will be corrected in terms of environments and shifts to cover that overspending. In terms of capital assets, we have a budget of 104.7 million, primarily for your EPWP infrastructure projects. We spent 41.7 million up to the end of Q3, which is 40% of the budget spent. We projected to be at 10.5, at 10%. So we've spent more than we anticipated up to the end of Q3, with projects that were drawing down money sooner than expected. In terms of machinery and equipment, we have a budget of 5.6. We spent 4.2 million, projected to be at 4.276 million, around 75%. So there's a slight overspending in totality for your machinery and equipment. And then payment for financial assets, we don't budget for that, so to speak. These are your thefts and losses due to write-offs, etc. It's 18,000, and you'll see that there's a so to speak, overspending on that, and that will be the budget. That will be the budget for that will be through shifts as we do the smoothing at year end. Yeah, that brings me to the end of my presentation for the financials. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Moith. So, Honorable Chairperson, before I hand over back to the Minister, we have Program 1. We anticipate that we will not be able to achieve one target, only one target, and that target is the target on invoices. But the issue there is that there was one invoice in the first quarter, which went just over 30 days. And we did explain some of the details around it and so on, and some processes around that have also taken place internally with regards to the people that were responsible for that. We believe that we'll be able to achieve 100% of Program 2, 100% of Program 3. We are monitoring closely the handover of the projects, which is the only area that we were a little bit anxious about it. But we do believe that there is a likelihood that we'll be able to achieve 100% there, and also 100% in Q4. So that is our current state of performance, but the outlook very close to 98-99% as we look at it currently for the end of the financial year. But we will continuously push and make sure that we monitor it closely. With regards to expenditure on compensation, as we lose months, whether we lost 2 or we lost 3 months or we lost 4 months, through the process of actually filling those positions, we and others also leaving whilst others are coming in. Each of those months is some money that would actually not be spent. So we will have substantial savings in that particular regard. We do anticipate that by the beginning of the financial year, coming financial year, we are going to be in this particular situation of there's a dispensation that has been extended, Honorable Chairperson, by National Treasury and the DPSA, where people who are 55 up to 59, and those are 61 and above, up to 63, are allowed to take an early retirement without with a particular dispensation that cushions them in terms of penalties and so on. So we do have a number of applicants for that. This has already been approved. It has gone through my office, it's gone through the Minister's office, it has gone through Treasury. So now it is actually there's a group of people that have been approved for that would also be leaving the organization 1st of April next financial year. We will then have to commence with the processes to replace those people immediately. So there are those aspects that would also have that kind of an impact. We are also having serious engagements with SITA, the State Information Technology Agency. In the program 1, there's a substantial amount there that relates to purchases that we are supposed to be doing with regards to our equipment, both hard and software and so on. And unfortunately, the delays with regards to that is something we don't necessarily have control over. And the reason for that is because the law specifically states that they are the ones who must procure for us. If we procure, however important the equipment is, then we would have actually broken the law. And that would also come with its own other implications and so on. So there's that particular aspect. We are engaging with the entity concerned, but we are also now at a point where we will also be engaging their relevant department at the DG level. I will stop at that for now, but there is quite a number of things that are in the pipeline with regards to the big ticket expenditure, including the expenditure for SAT transfers that are supposed to go there. What we do with SAT, we ask SAT to give us the details with regards to what is it that they would be expending on and so on. And once we've got that, then we are able then to do the transfer of that money on the issues that are going to be funded in terms of those plans and so on. So we were waiting for those documents, and I suppose once we get those documents, then the last tranche, I think it's about 104 million or so, would then go to SAT. I'll stop there and hand over to the Minister. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DG. Just in conclusion, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, just briefly to explain to the committee how the DM and myself are doing our oversight and the meetings that we have. We do meet at the bi-weekly with the DG. And then on a monthly basis, we meet with the DG and all the DDGs. And then we identified the strengths and we identified the weaknesses. So in terms of Q2, we have identified the strength to be in the administration, policy and research, destination development, and also the sector support. The weaknesses that we have identified in Q2 was the maintenance project handover. Another weakness is the work opportunities, and then, of course, the short-term rentals that we will now gazette for public consultation after the 15th of March. On the financial performance in Q2, we have also picked up the forecast with against the actual budget spent, and that compensation underspent due to vacancies. Lastly, in Q3, we noticed key strength in administration, policy, destination development, where 12 of the 13 community-based projects were completed. Also, the investment platform for tourism infrastructure has also delivered results. And then, of course, we have achieved the Tourism Growth Partnership Plan with the sector. Lastly, in Q3, we identified weaknesses in the maintenance project handover, and the 20 that's still outstanding for handover. We will ensure that before the end of the financial year that we hand over the 20. And then the other weakness was in terms of the district development model outreach programs, where we conducted 2 of the 3, and we also due to unavailability of district officials. And we want to fix this also by the end of the financial year. Dr. Mkomani has explained about the capacity alignment and skills profiling due to the low response from the staff. But currently we have reached 88% versus a target of 85%. And I'm sure we'll be able, before the end of the financial year, also fix that. Dr. Nkomani has also explained the Academic Excellence Program. We have now signed the agreement with University of Johannesburg, so we're catching up there. And then, of course, the financial performance in Q3, we have spent 73% of our annual budget. And again, the compensation underspend exists due to the vacancies. But these are the issues, honorable members, that the DM and myself are monitoring on a regular basis. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister and the team from the department for the presentations. We'll go to our next agenda point, and that's briefing by the South African Tourism on the second and third term performance reports. And I would like to give the acting CEO, Dr. Chettiar, an opportunity for some brief remarks before her team does the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Chettiar.
Good morning, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, Minister, DM, DG, and all colleagues on the platform. Honourable Chair, I will take the Portfolio Committee through the presentation. I've agreed with my colleagues that they will, in fact, then assist with responses to questions. I think following the format that has been taken by the Department of Tourism, we will go straight into the Q3 performance, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. But suffice to say that in Q2, our performance was sitting at 96%. There were two indicators that were not achieved. The first one was on the Traveller app, and the second one was on the India campaign. I am happy to report that both these indicators have subsequently been achieved, and in Q2, our performance was sitting at 96%. Then if we go into Q3, which is now being presented, if we could move to the next slide. Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, I won't belabor the slide because Minister has already spoken to our international and domestic arrivals. Suffice to say that the performance of the tourism sector is on track in terms of both arrivals as well as international, as well as the spend. Thank you very much, Kobe. The next slide then provides a summary of our targets. There were two targets in this quarter that were not achieved, and I will speak to them when I get to them. The one target was in our corporate support area of work, and the second target was in the leisure tourism area of work. Next slide, please. The next slide is just a graphical representation. We can move to the next slide, which is the corporate management area of work. Under this area of work, the next two slides speak to our work on internal and external audit, the clean audit program that we are implementing, and to say to honourable members that the organization is working really hard at making sure that we have a different audit outcome this year. And so there is very focused attention on both the internal and external audit findings to make sure that we actually clear these and prepare for the audit that is coming with the AGSA. The next set of targets then speak to our areas of work in procurement of goods and services, and this is building capacity, as well as our work on staff engagement to keep our finger on the pulse of the organization. And the targets that we set out to achieve in these areas were completed as expected. On the next slide, which is slide 7, is the target that we did not achieve in this quarter. And just to say, honourable members and honourable chair, this target for the end of the year is also likely not to be achieved. We commenced the year with the understanding that we might have to do minor organizational realignment of the structure of the organization. And in the diagnostic phase, what we have discovered is that we will in fact need to do a restructuring process and not minor realignment. And this is really to get rid of duplications in the system and to better align our structure with organizational efficiencies. So this is the target that we didn't achieve in this year, in this quarter, and we will also, for the annual target not achieve, the organization will then embark on a more wider reorganization of the structure. The next set of targets relate to our business enablement program 2 area of work. And within this area of work, we conduct tourism information tracking surveys. We actually establish a sentiment index. We also conduct stakeholder engagement, and we implement digital platforms. All of these areas of work were achieved in Q3. The next slide then also speaks to our work in leisure tourism marketing. And in this area of work, we have the global tourism brand area of work. We have the digital marketing strategy implementation. We have our communication targets. We're on the next slide now, please, Cobus, if you could move to slide 9. And we also then have the global public relations and communications targets. All of these areas of work for the leisure tourism marketing area were concluded in Q3. The next slide continues with our work on leisure tourism, and we have domestic leisure tourism campaigns. We have our distribution of domestic marketing on various channels. We also have our localized marketing campaigns in the Africa region, as well as the distribution of information on various channels for the Africa region. And all of this work was concluded as we anticipated. In some instances, you will note, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, we have exceeded the number of campaigns and or distribution channels, but this is in the spirit of communicating more the work that we're doing. The next slide, which is slide 11, continues with our work on leisure tourism marketing. And this relates to our work in the Europe region as well as the America region. We have targets around localized marketing campaigns and Austral distribution channels. And similarly, in these areas, our targets have been achieved and indeed exceeded for both Europe and the Americas. We continue then on slide 12 for our work in the Asia, Australasia market, as well as the work that we do with embassies to support our areas of work. The first target on this was the target that was not achieved in this quarter. And this was, in fact, an execution for the Japanese region. We did have some challenges around our own procurement systems, But I'm happy to say that this work has in fact now proceeded in Q4 and has in fact been concluded in Q4. Our work on channels for Asia, Australasia was on track. And similarly, our work with the embassies in terms of a localized marketing campaign, as well as our distribution channels, were achieved for the quarter. We then move into program 4, which is business events on slide 13. And in this area of work is our preparatory work to host the 2 key events that we are owners of, which is Meetings Africa and Africa's Travel Indaba. And we're very happy to say that we are on track with our preparations for both of these events. Meetings Africa, of course, taking place next week. And we are on track with our preparation for Africa's Travel Indaba. This team, of course, supports 105 bids for events. In the quarter, we supported 14 bid submissions, and we are also then hosted 5 business events in villages, townships, and small towns and dorpies in order to spread the impact of business events. The next slide, which is slide 14, speaks to our work on sustainability, a model for the events that we actually host, and also speaks to the work that we are doing to promote South African tourism products to the global market, as well as our domestic business-to-business brand campaigns and our global business-to-business campaigns. So the work for business events is similarly on track for all of these targets, and we are doing more in this area of work. So this is why you will see that it says target exceeded. In terms of our tourist experience, and this is the work that is done related to the grading area of work. In the quarter under review, our cumulative number of graded establishments sits at 4,552. You will note that our annual target is 4,500. We're happy to say that we did in Q3 achieve the annual target. But what's important to mention with this target, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, is that at the end of the quarter, which will be this financial year, we hope that this number stays stable in terms of grading. What we do have is that some establishments, their grading ends and they don't regrade, but we're hopeful that we will, at the end of the year, maintain our target of 4,500. Our basic quality verification program, which is an important program to bring businesses into the broader grading area of work, was implemented in Gauteng. And then we did implement 4 initiatives to support air access through our tourism route development marketing plan. I'm then going to hand over to our CFO to take us briefly through the finances.
Good morning, Chairperson, committee members, Minister, Deputy Minister, the DG and CEO, and all my other colleagues. I will be presenting on Q3 and Q2. It's important for the committee to note that Q3 is cumulative of Q2. As at end of Q2, in terms of our revenue, we had received 100% of the revenue we had budgeted for and had forecasted for the quarter. In terms of our annual budget for income, we were sitting at 66%. In Q3, likewise, we received all the revenue we had projected, and we were sitting at 91% of the overall revenue for the financial year. So from the department, we had received all the grant allocations, and we are expecting to fully receive that revenue even in quarter 4. Sundry revenue, we had received 91%. We just had lower exhibitions from lower income from exhibition platforms and interest income. Grading revenue was received in totality 100%. On the next slide, in terms of our program expanding, in quarter 2, we had spent a total of 95% of expected expenditure against overall organizational performance of 96%. In quarter 3, we have spent 89% against organizational performance of 95%, meaning that there was a 6% variance between our spending and overall performance. In program 1, we achieved 99% of all budgeted expenditure. We had a variance with our depreciation and amortization of assets, which we do not budget for, meaning that there were some savings with one of the targets that was not achieved there. Program 2, business enablement, we spent 97% against 100% performance, as there were some savings that were realized. Program 3, leisure, tourism, and marketing, we spent 87%, and we had some delayed spending with the localized marketing campaign in Asia, Australasia. In program 4, business events, we spent 89% against 100% performance. We had some savings that were realized in quarter 2 coming through from the Arabian travel market, which accumulated in quarter 3. Visitor experience program 5, we spent 77% against performance of 100%, which was a result of savings which we realized through leveraging existing trade opportunities. So overall for the year, we had spent 73% of our total budget for the year. Then in terms of economic classification, in quarter 2, we had spent 81% of compensation of employees. In quarter 3, it was sitting at 83% due to some vacancies which had not yet been filled in those 2 quarters. We are expecting that even in quarter 4, there will be some savings there, as we are still filling some of the vacancies that have been recently vacated. Goods and services, quarter 2, we were sitting at 98%, and in quarter 3, we're sitting at 90%, with some of the delayed spending in program 3 and a little bit in program 1. Then capital expenditure, in quarter 2, we were at 98%. And as at end of quarter 3, we had spent all the allocation with a variance of 2% being spent. On the next slide, that is just a graphical representation of our goods and services, demonstrating that in both quarters, the main area where we are spending is in media, representing 29% in quarter two, 32% in quarter three. And the second area where most of the funding is going towards is activation, being 27% in quarter three, and the third one being marketing production, being 22% in both quarters. Thank you, CEO.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. The next few slides then just speak to our human capital management, employment equity stats. In summary, we have in the employ of SA Tourism, 48 males and 88 females. We also do have, of course, through our offices across the world, some international employees, and that's 30 in total. The breakdown, of course, then is provided for the specific levels of management and staff, and also in terms of the racial classifications. Slide 21 just provides an outline of the board members and the various meetings that have been held. And in the quarter under review, this was in the main just for strategic planning, attendance at portfolio committee meetings, and then the meetings that were held with external stakeholders. The next slide, which is slide 22, then speaks to the committee meetings and the attendance of various members at the board subcommittees. The first slide is for the Human Capital Remuneration, Social and Ethics Committee. Slide 23 then speaks to the Audit and Risk Committee board meetings. And then the last slide on this actually speaks to the remuneration of various board members aligned with the work that they have done in terms of those subcommittee meetings and meetings with external stakeholders. Honourable Chair and honourable members, that concludes the presentation for quarter two and quarter three. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamila. Honourable Chair, just in closing again, to explain to the committee our oversight role as the DM and myself. Of course, in our oversight role, we always take also in consideration the advice from the portfolio committee. I meet with the board of SAT on a quarterly basis, and I meet with the executive management team on a monthly basis. And we do have a unit within the Department of Tourism that also assists with the oversight work. So in terms of quarter two performance, the strength that we have noticed was in the corporate support, the business enablement, the business events. We've seen 100% achievement there. Some of the weaknesses and of course also we've seen in quarter two, the overachievement of the grading facilities of 4,567 versus 2,250. Some of the weaknesses that will be resolved in the fourth quarter is the phase one of the travel app. We've been notified that that will not be repeated, and this repeat concern was also raised by the portfolio committee. Another weakness was that the Asia Australia campaign, the India campaign, was not properly executed due to procurement delays. And then we have also noticed the financial performance in Q2, where they were at 51%. Lastly, honourable members, in terms of Q3, overall strength, again, is corporate support, business enablement, the leisure tourism marketing, business events, all targets were achieved, and the tourist experience. But on the weaknesses side, and I think the acting CEO has mentioned it also now, the organizational structure need to be reviewed. And I have asked for a briefing by the board to see if you want to review, what do you want to change from what to what before they are going to appoint a service provider. Because the brief to the service provider must lead to the model, the operational model that will work for us in South Africa. Then also the other weakness, as I said, was Asia Australia campaign Japan. Was not fully executed due to the expiry of the global media buy. And of course, the financial performance was good, except compensation underspent due to the filling of the vacancies. But we have received a report from the board of the framework for filling these vacancies, especially at senior management level. So we look forward to the input and advice and direction from the portfolio committee that between the DM and myself, we will ensure that we incorporate it in our oversight. I thank you, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable Members.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, and thank you to Dr. Chetia and the team from South African Tourism. Our next agenda point is deliberations, and I'll now give an opportunity to honourable members to pose questions. I can see the hands are going up, and interact with the presentations. Honourable Hlongo, followed by Honourable Linda, followed by Honourable Ishmael, followed by Honourable Tito, followed by Honourable Dikharaba, and followed by Honourable Maecho.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to everyone on the platform and happy birthday, Minister. Greetings, Deputy Minister Dichivele, the entire team from the department, and the entire team from the SAT. Chair, I would not waste time because time is not on our side as we will be rushing to take the bus, but I'll just have direct questions. First, I'll start with the Minister, and then I'll go to the department, and lastly will be the SAT. Minister, there is clearly a problem at SAT, and we want to know what is the problem at SAT. It can't be that the boards are dissolved and people are resigning. There's no stability at SAT, Minister. What is really the problem at SAT? Please answer to that question. And Minister, why did you not provide the committee with a state of readiness report for Meetings Africa 2026 after concerns were formally raised? And do you accept, Minister, the late appointment of the event management company undermined planning and stakeholder confidence for Meetings Africa 2026? And what steps are you taking to restore confidence after the private sector decided to withhold Tom Salivis from South African tourism? And how is Minister responding to SIU investigation into maladministration at South African tourism? And when can Parliament expect progress update? Parliament, we mean the Portfolio Committee, Minister. And then lastly, Minister, what specific actions are being taken to implement the President's SONA commitments to township, rural and cultural tourism? And then to the department, what measures has the department put in place to prevent regressions on targets following leadership instability at SAT? How the department monitor and why is it that all the time when we go to oversight visits, we continue to find neglected heritage sites and tourism sites, despite domestic tourism being a stated priority? And then lastly, to the department, what mechanism does the department use to hold provinces and municipalities accountable for their tourism responsibilities? And then to South African tourism, yes, South African tourism. On what date was the event management company for Meetings Africa 2026 appointed? And why was it delayed? And what impact did this delay have on buyers, exhibitors, and international confidence in the event? What engagement has South African tourism had with private sectors regarding the withholding of TOMSA levies? How will South African tourism prevent fragmented international marketing now that the private sector is marketing independently? And what concrete marketing initiatives currently promote township, rural, and cultural tourism, and how are they measured? You also mentioned that you have hosted 5 business events in townships and dorpies. Which are those towns? Name them. Name the town. Name the date that business event was held. Thank you very much, Chair. That would be my questions.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Hlongo, followed by Honorable Linda. Let's stick to the 3 minutes. I've seen Honorable Hlongo have run like a steam train on a 3 minutes. So let's stick to the 3 minutes, honorable members, because we would like the department as well as SAT to respond to your questions. And those questions that you're unable to ask, let's put them in writing and send them through to Disang, and Disang will forward it through to the department for answering. Honorable Linda, you may proceed.
Chairperson, colleagues, good morning, and thank you very much for the presentations, and also happy birthday to our president, our minister today. I hope she has a wonderful day with us. Chairperson, just quick, we are trying to measure meetings, our successes by meetings and policies that's drafted and enterprises that we count, but we should rather measure our success by the jobs that are sustained, that we create, revenue generated, infrastructure that's completed, private investment that's leveraged, and of course the increased tourist arrivals. So I'll deal with program 1 on the department first. I'm going to ask the department what measurable operational efficiencies were achieved in Q2 and Q3 that improved the delivery timelines. On program 2, we continue to see policy processes and international engagements reported as achievements, but policy drafting and conference attendance does not create jobs. For every rand spent on international engagements in Q2 and Q3, what economic return was generated? Chair, on program 3, this program should actually be the economic engine of this department, but instead we are presented with the number of projects supported. And I've said this before, temporary EPWP style jobs cannot be presented as suitable economic transformation. Question to the department, Chair, what percentage of funded projects are fully operational and financially sustainable? On program 4, question, how many supported enterprises increased turnover and created permanent jobs as a direct result of the departmental intervention? On program 5, what percentage of the capital budget remains unspent entering Q4, and what corrective action is in place? Question lastly, Chairperson, tourism depends on safe cities and functioning municipalities. How many destination projects are stalled due to municipal dysfunction or lack of interdepartmental coordination? And can the department indicate which projects they are? Chair, if you allow me just quickly on SA Tourism. Dr. Checher, congratulations on your appointment and all the best with your task. I'm concerned about the underspending of 170 million rand across the 2 quarters. What immediate structural reforms are being implemented to prevent this pattern from recurring? The Japan contract is a governmental lapse. Who specifically is accountable for allowing strategic market contract to expire despite the campaign being scheduled from the beginning of the financial year. Chair, why has the entity failed for more than 2 years to comply with national disability employment requirements? And what firm time-bound intervention plan exists to address this ongoing non-compliance? Chairperson, my last question. You would recall that we made a recommendation in the BRRR approved by Parliament last year that the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Tourism should commission a feasibility study to possible restructuring of SIT into a public-private partnership. Can the Minister confirm that this process commenced? Chairperson, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honourable Linda. Honourable Tito.
Thanks, Chairperson. Greetings to the Minister, the Deputy Minister, my colleagues and everyone who is present. Chair, I'm also going to run like my honourable members that have done that. I have 3 questions, Chair. Minister, you spoke about an engagement with the private sector about the TOMSA levies that have been withheld. What if these engagements don't bring positive results and the private sector sign its independent joint marketing agreements and attend international trade shows alone? What will this do in causing confusions in the international markets? And are you positive that the TOMSA levies will be paid to the SAT entity again? And Minister, on the issue of the DG, given that the second 5-year term of the DG started in September 2020 and was due to run through September 2025, what is the current status of the Director General? And Minister, the department is very notorious on the space of underspending. Given that underspending was incurred in all its 4 programs, does the department envisage that all allocated funds will be spent by the end of the financial year? And is there a reflection that we are going to be given that everything is going to be fine during the end of the financial year, all the monies are going to be spent? And Minister, there is also a concern because of we are always emphasizing that you are not doing enough on the issue of the growth of the domestic tourism, and also our communities, especially the small dorpies in the villages, they are not actually they are not getting anything in terms of the tourism exposure. So which implementation have you put in place to ensure that the tourism township dorpies, they are going to get exposure, they are going to be there in the international market, and then you have put those implementations, those programs in progress? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. The Secretary.
Thank you, Honourable.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Honourable Ikharaba.
Hello, sorry.
You must follow the meeting. I think after everyone speaks, I come in. Thank you, Honourable Tito. Honourable Ikharaba, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, the Secretary, the Minister. Happy birthday to you, our Deputy Minister, the DG, the SAT, and everyone present, including the board members, if they're present. My question goes straight to the department. In Q1, it was cited that the reason for the department didn't get 100% on the target regarding payment of invoices on time is due to an individual not being around to see the completion of an account. Has the central system been created on the proposed intervention, and does that transaction report depend on one person, or there is other person available to ensure that transactions are thoroughly processed? How have you ensured that SAT performance improves through the development of the quarterly oversight reports? What is the progress report on the transition of the TEF from CIFA to the Public Investment Corporation? How much has been dispersed to date, and what plans are in place to ensure that the remaining amount is disbursed? What criteria will be used by the new implementing agent? Have norms and standards being developed? Noting that the 10th of January have passed, can you confirm to us that Royal Kalanga completed the missed phase of the project as projected, and what consequences management was put in place to address the missed deadline? How many tourism monitors have been allocated per province from 1,005 tourism monitors? What measures has the department put in place to better manage and strengthen this program, as it has been made with allegations of corruption and mismanagement? Going to SAT, I think I have one or two, three questions. What did the review of the organizational structure entail, and how is it contributing to capacitating the entity? And noting that in Q3, this target was not achieved, what timelines are being put in place to appoint the service provided as per the recommendation, and conducting a comprehensive organizational redesign to address systematic inefficiencies and align SAT tourism operating model with the cooperatives cooperate into strategy? Noting that while phase one of the digital platform to enhance visitors' experience was not implemented in Q2, it has been achieved in Q3. What consequences were put in place for the responsible official, and what have been the recorded results of this platform since the plotting of the phase one? Lastly, Chair, what were the results and key resolution emanating from the strategic dialogue with tourism sector role players? Is there a broad plan that serves as a pledge from all public-private players in this space to increase employment? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Igaraba. Honorable Maecho.
Thank you very much, Chair. I won't be long as well. I'm affected by the same issue of transport. Greetings to the Minister and happy birthday to the Minister. Greetings to the DM, the DG, SA Tourism. Chair, I will go straight to the department. What timeframes are in place to address the areas of underspending, particularly in relation to the SETA procurement process, as well as the filling of vacancies? And then number two, what has led to the delay in transfer payment to SA Tourism, as guided by Section 29 of the PFMA? Three, which institutions of higher learning is the department working with for academic excellence, despite mentioning the Johannesburg, University of Johannesburg? I don't think that if you are telling us as a portfolio committee that you are working with only one institutions, but your output indicators are saying that you are targeting institutions of higher learning across the country, then you are narrow-minded in as far as this objective is concerned, because you can't focus on one province. You must tell us in other provinces which institutions, TVET, they are also having that particular graduate of tourism. So you need to expand and tell us exactly how many institutions, not only one. And the other question will be under outcome indicator on the number of destinations enhanced, initiative supported. The department recorded a target of 33 in quarter two, and none was achieved in quarter three target. In quarter three, the target was 14, and none were achieved equally. What is the reason for this, and what rectification measures are being put in place? And number four, the number of destination enhancement initiatives supported, that's the output, but the annual target is 1,400 work opportunities. The target for both quarter two and quarter three was 500, and the department could only reach it at the end of each of the quarter, with quarter two hitting 748, and quarter three 759 work opportunities. What was the reason for the delayed responsiveness? Is the department timing this program well according to its plan? And then the last question on the department: how many young people have been placed on the Learn and Earn Young Placement Program, and what do they stand to benefit from it? Then I will go to SA Tourism. You mentioned that in the execution of the localized marketing campaigns in the Americas region, were there any difficulties recorded, especially as it relates to President Trump's views on South Africa? And broadly, how have geopolitical trends impacted on the work of the entity, of which at its core is to optimally market South Africa as a preferred destination? Then number two is that noting that in terms of the target to localize marketing campaigns to increase demand in the Asia, Australasia region, there were delays in quarter two for India and quarter three for Japan. What was the reason for this and how will it managed going forward? The last question on the SA tourism is that graded establishment for quarter three were 3,375 graded establishment, and overachievement was recognized at 4,552 graded establishment. How many of these are returning establishment and how many are new? What has been your strategy to attract the new establishment, including breaking down in terms of the previously disadvantaged entities that are coming from previously disadvantaged communities? We will be happy to know. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Maecho. We'll now hand over to the department and SAT to interact with the questions that honorable members posed.
Honorable Chair, you must me.
Sorry, Chair.
Honorable Ishmael, you were there in the front. What happened to you?
When you identified another member, I just said cordiality. Let me allow it.
Okay, you may proceed, Honorable Ishmael, but take cognizance of the time. You will be speaking here and other honorable members are jumping on the bus now at 12:30. You may proceed, Honorable Ishmael.
Even myself.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy birthday, Minister. I'm also jumping on the bus, by the way. Luckily, I got my earpods on. I think our colleagues have covered quite a bit of the questions. So I'm just going to try and stick to what hasn't been asked before. So, Minister, you advised in your response to the Chair's inputs regarding the inputs, from with regard to the appointment of board members. I just want to clarify that, since you have advised that, a thorough check is being done before you actually submit these members' names to the cabinet. And now, Minister, you are thus well aware of the history of one of your appointees, Mr. Brian Mosela. Now, to assist our other members, Mr. Mosela was a shareholder in Cash Payment Services, which was unlawfully awarded a contract by SASSA in 2012 to distribute social grants. CPS has been before the Constitutional Court multiple times for refusing to provide information about its profits and for refusing to repay unlawfully, paid monies back to SASSA. Minister, you are also no doubt also aware that Mr. Mosela was the CFO of the Housing Development Agency in 2020 and presided over the agency's disastrous performance in delivering temporary residential units, as well as, a suspicious tender awards to companies linked to Mr. Edwin, who is currently facing trial on charges of fraud and corruption. So, Minister, on what basis did you appoint him as an interim board member, which should have been actually, to fix, or rather with the aim to fix SAT? Minister, I've actually written to you with regard to this, but since I did not get a reply, I thought it's a good opportunity to ask the question. My second question is on sustainable job creation numbers. I think these numbers are very concerning. Tourism monitors, have highlighted that they were not paid timely in December. Please advise why they were not paid on time and what are you doing to ensure that this does not happen again? And then again, at recent oversight visits, stakeholders have advised that tourism monitors need to be also allocated to township tourist areas. Will you please address this request? Because I think it is important. And then, Minister, maybe you can advise us on why the acting CEO is very concerning and worrisome that we have so many, resignations in the past few years at SAT. There must be some underlying factor why. And then you say in your presentations, Operation Clean Audit. Please, maybe you can provide the committee with more clarity on what is the meaning of Operation Clean Audit. What does it actually entail so we can follow and do oversight? And then, Minister, with regard to international travel been undertaken by yourself, the department, and SAT, how do you plan prior to your travels? And are there any discussions or consultations with the private sector to get like an understanding of barriers and opportunities? And then do you have a a post-travel discussion as well, so that you can, learn from there and see what can be done differently? Quickly, when will the white paper come to Parliament now, considering you have mentioned there are a few outstanding matters? And then looking at tourism numbers, what are the specific tourism outcomes achieved through the G20 summit? And then lastly, Minister, considering that officials have escalated the grievances regarding the DG to the public protector, have you as a minister made any recommendations to the president with regard to the reappointment or non-appointment of the current DG? And we would also like a feedback report on what is the current status of the allegations against the DG. Please provide feedback and the status of bullying in the workplace, reported to the president and the public protector. I think it's a question regarding the service provider appointment with regard to Meetings Africa has been questioned, but if you could reply to that as well. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Ishmael. Honorable Mashabela, I would like you, Honorable Mashabela, to please, when you come to the Parliament precinct, to go to the IT, they're on the 5th floor, and ensure that they assist you with your Zoom meetings. They installed for every one of us so that we are able to see when you raise your hand, please, because it's consistent that we don't see your hand on the Zoom platform. It's either you don't know how to raise your hand, or there's really something not okay with your Zoom platform. So I would just urge you kindly to come and see the IT department. You may proceed, Honorable Mashabela, in asking your questions. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you, Chair. Chair, just a follow-up on the ongoing developments around the Special Investigating Unit. Chair, in November 2025, Mr. Ramaphosa signed a proclamation authorizing the Special Investigating Unit to investigate allegations of serious maladministration and improper conduct in the affairs of the South African Tourism Board, and to recover all financial losses suffered by the state. So, Chair, I just want to ask the minister if does the minister have an idea of when the Special Investigating Unit will complete its investigations? Again, Chair, the presentation reflects significant spending under media production, activation, hosting capabilities, and research. Please provide a breakdown of which media houses received advertising spend. How much went to international platforms versus local platforms? How much was spent on foreign agencies? Under capabilities, Chair, which companies were appointed, through which procurement process, and how many are majority Black owned? Lastly, Chair, how much was spent on hosting and who were the beneficiaries? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mashabela. We have 27 minutes for between the department and SAT to interact with the questions posed by honorable members. So, DG, if there are any questions that your team is unable to answer due to time constraint, if you could do that in writing, as well as to Dr. Chetia on your side. If there are any questions that you do not get to today, if you could then just do those answers in writing. Honorable Maecho, is that a legacy hand? Honorable Maecho? I think, okay, it's a legacy hand. He's probably on the bus. DJ, over to you and your team, followed by Dr. Chetty. Let me just see, there's about 25 minutes left. If you could split it up between the two of you, thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. We will try and be as brief as possible in the responses. I'm going to ask Program 4 first. That will be DDG Sedwamo to come in, and then followed by Acting DDG Malan for Program 3. Then followed by, I think there will be one or so also in a normal program, and then I will ask Dr. Ngomane to come in, and then I'll come in last. Thanks. DDG Sitwa.
Thank you very much, DG, and thank you for the questions. Sure, it was a bit hectic. And my apologies if I didn't capture most of the questions, but I believe the ones that I was able to capture, I can respond directly. In terms of the learn and earn, the beneficiation, what are the youth benefiting out of the program? We will provide, Honorable Chair, the numbers of the youth that we have in our learn and earn in writing, but the benefit is to expose them to the workplace. Some of our learners, especially at TVET colleges, are not able to complete their diplomas or in universities, their degrees, because they still short of completing their practical training. So the learn and earn is exposing them and giving them those opportunities to complete their degree and to be exposed to the workplace. As I said, the numbers will be provided. I think also we will provide the question regarding how many businesses that we had supported, and how have they increased job creation due to the support that we had provided. I can say in the nutshell, with our financial and non-financial support to enterprises, we seek to stimulate growth and development of small enterprises. And in alignment with the 7th administration, we are reviewing the support and tying it to the priorities of government, especially inclusive growth, including the ability to create jobs. We will then follow up in terms of what has the support that we have provided yielded in line with the priorities. Our programs, mostly those that are involving the youth, when we advertise for participation, like your tourism monitors, the graduates, the demand-led skills, we focus in terms of recruiting along those areas, our townships, our dorpies, our villages. We ensure that we reach even our youth that are in those areas. I spoke about the Integrated Service Excellence Program. Specifically, the focus is on these areas, the townships, the dorpies. It's still a pilot, but we will expand on it, learning from what will be coming out of the pilot phase. Honorable Ishmael asked about the tourism monitors that have not been paid. I can report that we have started paying them this morning. We had a challenge of unresponsive bids in December when we went on RFQs to try and secure a service provider to facilitate the payment. 2 attempts were not as successful, but we finally succeeded early February, and we are happy to report that we are paying them, and we are really putting in place measures to ensure that this doesn't happen. We are working together with the Office of the CFO in the SCM, and the DG also giving some guidance there in terms of approvals for us to be able to put in place measures that this doesn't happen. But honorable members, DG, the questions that I have here, I can safely say I'll try and respond in writing so that I can give other colleagues an opportunity to address the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, for the questions. I also tried my best to write down all of them. I trust I captured all of them. And I'm trying to separate Program 3 from Program 2. I want to indicate that the EPWP jobs, the reason for that not being under the target, for not achieving what we have targeted for, I think Honourable Member, I think it was Honourable Maitso that asked about that. In practice, we can only report a job as being created once that information is captured on the EPWP system. And I'm responding now very practically. And for us to capture the work that was done on the EPWP system, we need a number of documents for that to be done successfully, including ID documents and so on. And as I reported, we were not able, for various reasons, to capture all of those documents on the system. And we were therefore not able to report the jobs that were created as indeed successfully created. But we have put measures in place to ensure that we catch up as a department, and we are able to capture all the jobs and report on them. And as I indicated, we do envisage that we will reach the target and even exceed the target by the end of the financial year. In terms of the destination enhancements, some of them not being achieved, as I try to indicate, we do a in-depth due diligence process to ensure that indeed a project is completed before we report that as being done. And that process was not fully completed, and that's why we have not indicated that achievement thereof. But we are confident that the process will be completed, and by the end of the financial year, those would be the target would be reached as planned. I just want to indicate, I know Honourable Maitso, when he spoke about the academic institutions for skills development that we work with. I do want to also add that we work with academic institutions in the rollout of our research agenda. And they include institutions like the University of Venda, KZN, Pretoria, Tshwane University of Technology. So we do work with quite a number of institutions of higher learning, also from a research perspective. Honourable Richard Raba asked about the project that was planned to be completed on the 10th of January. I indicated that unfortunately it wasn't as we planned when we developed or when we finalized the Q3 report. And the reason for that was that there was a disagreement between the contractor and his subcontractor. The subcontractor wanted to be paid for work that was substandard. So that led to a process, but we have since catch up and everything has been resolved. And the process is now around 95% completion. So it will also be completed by the end of the financial year. I think I just want to end with perhaps a response to Honorable Linda. I think from program 4 side, program 2 side, I fully agree that, with her that economic growth, job creation, and so on is our focus, and also the focus of the 7th administration and priorities from our minister and deputy minister. And of course, for the tourism sector, that performance is reported by Stats SA. When they publish the tourism satellite account, and we are expecting the next one in towards the middle of this year. But of course, we need to provide enabling environment from a policy perspective as well, and that's why the importance of reviewing the Act. And I know that Honourable, can't remember now, I think it was Honourable Ismail that asked about when the white paper we will take it to Parliament. The plan that we reported was that by the end of the next financial year, we will take we will introduce the revised white paper or the revised Tourism Act into Parliament. Of course, the white paper was already approved by Parliament. Then back to the jobs and the policy, as I indicated, we need to set the environment there. Therefore, the policy processes, and we also are responsible for setting the guiding strategy or the tourism growth partnership plan that we developed in partnership with private sector. I'm trying to answer fast. And then the sustainability of projects. My apology, I missed that under program 3. That is part of our value chain in the development of our projects. In program 3 is to ensure that at the end there's plans in place to ensure sustainability. And my last comment is around a comment that was made, I think, by Honourable Throngo around neglected sites. I think other members also spoke about it. When it comes to culture and heritage sites, we are working closely with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture on that area of work. There is also an MOU in place to guide the work in that area to assist to ensure that we bring the sites into the state that we want them to be. Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. I tried.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. I will actually start with the question from Honorable Linde regarding the measurable operational efficiencies to improve timelines. What we have done in that space, we have increased the turnaround times in terms of the filling of vacancies as compared to what is prescribed by the DPSA for filling of vacancies in 8 months. We have seen some evidence where positions were actually filled within 2 months after they've been advertised. And then also we have seen invoices paid within 30 days, some of them even paid in less than 2 weeks because of the internal processes that we have enhanced. And then also we have seen the fast tracking of the procurement of goods and services within the department. And this has actually increased a number of efficiencies in the department. With regards to the questions asked by Honorable Haraba, Honorable Haraba, we have since strengthened our payment of invoices system. You might have actually picked up that during quarter 2 and quarter 3, we are at 100%. It's because we ensure that all the invoices are followed through and paid within the dates, within the 30 days period. In terms of the improved quarterly oversight reporting with the SAT actually submits the quarterly reports to the oversight unit within the branch. that is actually being assessed and analyzed and then sent to the DG to recommend to the minister for areas of improvement, where the minister actually subsequently writes to the chairperson of the board in terms of the areas that will have actually identified for improvement. And then also we've set up an oversight committee within the department that work closely with the SAT in various functional areas. With regards to the question asked by Honorable Maejo, Honorable, we have actually tightened the governance processes with SETA. As we speak, we have instituted a weekly progress meeting with the executive of the SETA, who is responsible for the procurement of the processes within the SETA, the hardware, the software, and licenses, to actually take us through that in terms of all the requests that we have made to them. What are the progress, what are the bottlenecks that they are experiencing, and how they intend to resolve that. This is actually shown to have some good progress with regards to the engagement that we are having with SETA. And then also, filling of vacancies will be an ongoing process, but we'll make sure that all the positions that have been prioritized are filled within the timelines and the time frame, so that we can actually reduce the number of positions. I fully agree that we have actually identified University of Johannesburg for the Academic Excellence Program, but this was a pilot program for this current financial year. As we move forward in the new financial year, we'll be engaging other institutions of learning that are offering tourism and hospitality related programs. Honorable, you'll actually remember that during the G20, we have done a similar project where we hosted the G20 Tourism Hackathon, where 22 institutions of higher learning that are specializing in tourism were invited to be part of the project. Similarly, we'll do the same with this Academic Excellence Program. I thank you so much, DG.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
We've run out of time for the department.
Okay.
You have taken more than that 13.5 minutes of yours. So, DG, anything else that needs to be communicated, you can please do so in writing. But I think, all of your DGs, I think they have interacted with the questions that was posed to them. Dr. Chetya, I'm giving you about 8 minutes, and other questions that you're unable to touch, if you could just then do them in writing for us. Dr. Chetya.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members. There are 2 questions, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, that we are going to provide in writing. The first was from Honourable Mashabela, and that was with regards to the media spend breakdown. And the second one was from Honourable Maesho with regards to the breakdown of graded establishments. Let me try and respond to some of them, and then I'm going to ask Corné Koch to come in at the end around the Convention Bureau area of work. I think with regards to the preparation for Meetings Africa this year, we completely accept the criticism that we should be starting much earlier. We had an anomaly this year, and we are going to make the late commencement a thing of the past. I'm happy to say that we do have in place an advisory committee which is comprised of both the public and private sector for both Meetings Africa and for Africa's Travel Indaba. And those advisory panels are meeting regularly to look at the prep as well as any issues that might arise to hosting successful events. We are then on track, as I've indicated, for Meetings Africa. The second set of questions, I think, was then related to the US market and if we are seeing any impact of the geopolitics. I'm happy to say that the US remains one of our strongest markets from both a leisure and a business tourism perspective. We have done some research in the background to understand what could be the possible impact of geopolitics. And what we are seeing is that we're not seeing any negative impact on our visitor numbers from the US. It remains a very strong market for South Africa, and equally strong in terms of the spend. Honorable Maeshu was asking about our campaigns and the challenges that we have had to implementing the India and Japanese campaign. In both instances, our challenges were related to procurement. But Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, I can assure you that in our planning for the next financial year, we are trying to align our procurement processes with our execution, and we are hoping to make sure that we also are aligning agencies in the markets that we serve, so that this problem that we've had in the last year will be a matter of the past. With regards to the organizational structure, structure actually follows strategy. So I want to address this question together with the questions that have been asked about our partnership with the private sector on marketing, as well as the platforms that we attend as SA Tourism. I am happy to report to the honourable members and to you, Honourable Chair, that we have agreed that we will work very closely with the private sector to put together a joint marketing plan by the end of this financial year, so that from the 1st of April, we are implementing a plan that both the private and public sectors have concurred with and agreed to. With regards to that, of course, the spend in the various markets will then, of course, follow this joint plan that we're working on with the private sector. With regards to the TOMSA levy, I think it's important to state that in our agreement with the private sector, one of the requirements for the TOMSA levy to be transferred to SA Tourism is that the entity gets a clean audit. We are, of course, working towards that in this financial year, and we're hoping to have that positive outcome reported when this audit process is concluded around August this year. But in the interim, what we will do with the private sector is based on the joint marketing plan that both parties will agree to. The spend will then follow from both SA Tourism as well as the TOMSA levy to support those activities that have been prioritized. And then I am going to ask, with regards to the organizational structure, of course, the marketing plan will inform then the work that we do on organizational structure. As Minister has indicated, on this process, there will be extended consultation, both internally as well as with the board and the minister, to ensure that when the organizational structure is reviewed and what will be implemented actually will allow us to deliver on the strategy. We do not anticipate that that process is going to be quick, but we can provide timelines once we have had these internal consultations, as well as the consultations with the board and the minister on how long the organizational process will take. Honourable Chair, I'm going to hand over to Corné Koch, the Chief Convention Bureau Officer, and she'll specifically respond to the appointment and date that was asked by Honourable Hlongo, as well as the various places where we've hosted business events. Thank you, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Honourable Chair, members, Minister, Deputy Minister, DG. In response to the appointment of the service provider for an exhibition management company, that was done on the 22nd of December. And as Dr. Chicho alluded, we are on track with delivering Meetings Africa for this year. So that is in response to that question. In regard to the villages, townships, and small dorpies, that is a project run by the Convention Bureau to stimulate economic activity in the smaller areas or the townships and the villages in South Africa. It is a very consistently managed program. We stimulate bidding in those areas to allow for local associations to have their meetings. And I'm very happy to report that those areas are areas such as, for instance, at Q2, we have Mpangeni, Makanda in Eastern Cape, Port Alfred, Thohoyandou, and again Makanda in Eastern Cape in 1 quarter, and other villages and townships for quarter 3 includes Tsolo, Soweto, and Gauteng, Secunda, in the Free State, and Secunda and Mpumalanga, and then a dorpie in Free State, as well as in Nambiti in KZN. And those aren't small exhibitions. The quarter 2 event, one conference was 800 people, and then in Q3 we had a conference in KZN of 500 people. So the impact of a 2-day conference for about 80 people is about 1.9 million rand to the local economy of that project. And those targets have been exceeded on both quarters for delivery of those business events in the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. That concludes our areas of work. Suffice to say that we're also paying very special attention to budget spend, working with different units and working with our Office of the CFO to unblock any obstacles we might have to procurement. Thank you, Honourable Chair. I will yield here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chetia and your team, and thank you, DG Vela and your team. Our next agenda point is to adopt the draft first term program. Disang?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm just going to be very quick on it, just to highlight the changes that have taken place in the program. Firstly, we did have our oversight visit that took place for the last week of January. And then our meeting that was supposed to be on the 10th of February did not take place. So I have replaced that meeting to be on the 24th of February, because that was the week we were intending to go on Meetings Africa. So there is a change that has happened. So that meeting of the 10th will be now on the 24th of February, which is with the National Public Transport Regulator and SATSA regarding the backlog regarding of the tour operator licenses. And then on the 25th, there will be a budget speech. And then on the 3rd of March is the briefing by the Department of Tourism on the Tourism Growth Partnership Plan. That hasn't changed. And then on the 10th of March is a briefing by South African Tourism on the Road Development Strategy. And then the 17th of March is a briefing by Airbnb on their short-term rental model, compliance with applicable legislation, successes and challenges. And then we've also, the department will brief us on the framework for regulating the sharing economy. This is for short-term rental framework. Then on the 24th of March, it's a briefing by Culture, Arts, Tourism, Hospitality and Sports Sector Education and Training Authority, which is a CAT-SITA, on the training programs and collaboration with the Department of Tourism and the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. And on the 31st of March, which is the last day for the term, it will be, the department will brief us on, will give progress on the Tourism Equity Fund, the progress report on the Tourism Transformation Fund, and then also the progress report on the Tourism Incentive Program. And then also the Market Access Support Program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Disang. Can I have a mover for the adoption of our first term program? Honorable Ishmael.
I'm happy to move.
Thank you, Honorable Ishmael. Is there a seconder? Honorable Maetro.
I second the adoption.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Maetro. And with that, our program, first on program is adopted. So I would just like to move to the last item on our agenda, which is the way forward and the closing remarks. The improved performance by both the department and SA Tourism is noted, and both organizations are urged to ensure that the implementation of projects and expenditure is maximized in the remaining period of the financial year. The under expenditure at both the department and SA Tourism remain a cause for concern, and this should be improved drastically in the remainder of the financial year. The explanation by the Minister on the process of appointment of the permanent board is noted. The Minister is urged to maintain the timeframes provided and submit the new board to Cabinet for approval as soon as possible. The matter around the timeframes for the disciplinary hearing for the suspended CEO is also noted. The Minister and the board are urged to ensure the matter is finalized as soon as the timeframes presented in this meeting to ensure stability at the executive leadership level at SA Tourism. In our oversight as the committee, we have identified a need for tourism monitors in townships. Maybe the Minister and the Director General may consider placing tourism monitors in townships with tourism activities. This will improve the performance of the department on work opportunities created through the EPWP program. We are also making this recommendation in our oversight report that will land on the Minister's desk once approved by the National Assembly. The Minister's response around the withheld TOMSA levy was not satisfactory. The Minister is urged to check with SA Tourism and the Tourism Business Council about the status of the TOMSA levies. The committee has noted the sector recovery and it is promising for sustained future growth. However, the growth should benefit all the role players as soon the work on the transformation and disbursement of transformation-related funds and support programs should be expedited. Is it possible for SA Tourism to wait for the new permanent board to finalize the organizational restructuring process? This is set against the background that the entity has decided to do a full-blown restructuring instead of minor process, which was the target for this financial year. Meetings Africa and Africans Tourism in Daba are significant flagship events for the country. The Minister and Deputy Minister are requested to pay close attention on the planning and staging of these events. It is important to be transparent and provide timeless information to buyers and exhibitors. This is said in good spirit to ensure integrity and international standards of these events. The planning for the next financial year 2026 and 2027, the department and SA Tourism should have clear programs earmarked for villages, townships, and small dorpies. This is in line with the committee's oversight work, whereby it has been clear that townships are neglected in departmental programs. SA Tourism should improve on the procurement systems where international programs are concerned. This should be done to prevent delays in future projects implemented internationally. The department and SA Tourism are urged to put programs in place to implement the SONA pronouncements by the President. This will assist in growing domestic tourism and improving tourist attractions in the VTSDs. The issue of sustainability of projects is critical. The Minister should ensure that operational plans for all infrastructure projects handed over to owning agents are in place. In our oversight visit to the Cape Agulhas Lighthouse project, we were informed that an operating agent has been appointed. This should be used as a model for all infrastructure projects to ensure sustainability. Both the department and SA Tourism are urged to fill all the prioritized posts in the current financial year. And with that, our meeting now for today is closed, and thank you for everyone's attention and attendance in this meeting. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of our meeting, everyone. I'm not getting any response from anyone. I think everyone wants to still remain in the meeting.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
We've done good time. We had to really rush today, but we've done good time.